Hello again. This is Pastor Troy Cunningham, and I want to talk to y'all this afternoon about something that has really bothered me. And I want to deal with this idea of, what are we anyway? Are we really these bastions of empathy, or are we more like a egotistical maniac? What are we? What kind of people are we? And I ask this, in all sincerity, and please comment and help me understand this. But I get online and look at different forums of INFJs, and I read comments and I watch and listen to how people react to one another. And I'm going to be honest with you, it makes me plumb embarrassed and ashamed to even be associated with this term INFJ. The way some people react, talk, and treat each other. I'm like, what kind of people are we? Who are we? You know, we claim to be intelligent. We claim to be empathetic. We claim to see all the sides of different, perspectives. We claim to be healers. We claim to be, um, what's the word for it? Peacemakers and bringing people together. And we claim all these things. And yet I watch this online and we people literally claw each other's eyeballs out over the silliest things. And I don't understand, and maybe even I've been guilty of it at times. I don't know. Um, when you see me get frustrated, it's usually when somebody attacks me, my faith or my family or something. Not me personally, because I don't care what you think about me, but um, I've had people to attack my faith. But I saw a post made by a Muslim today, and a Muslim fellow had made a comment about. Um, he was actually making a post about jinn, what they call jinn. We call them demons in Christianity, and how they affect your sleep at night. And he talked about night terrors and uh, night paralysis and this kind of thing. And is that a, a part of being? He wanted to know how people felt about it because in his mind, it was caused by the jinn or the demons or evil spirits, harassing people at night. And well, I've experienced this as a child, and as a Christian, I experienced the night terrors and the paralysis and all that as a child. And I can remember my grandmother and even my mother at times, I'd gather enough courage to scream at them and holler, through my night terrors, for help. And they would come and pray with me until that would leave, and then I would sleep and rest well. So I kind of knew what he was talking about. And so from a Christian perspective, we would pray until if it's a demon or a spirit or whatever it is that's harassing us or causing this, we would just simply pray until it left and then we would sleep and sleep well. I can remember that several times as a child. Um, so, he was mentioning how that, he found relief by, as a Muslim, by taking a bath before he went to bed and anointing himself with oil and putting olive oil on himself. And so anyway, I started reading the comments, and I immediately was kind of taken back by how vicious people attacked him because of his faith or his ideas. And I'm not saying I agreed totally with his method to bring about a cure to his problem, his ailment. But I wasn't gonna get on there and attack the man or belittle him or, make fun of him, because people could make fun of me for talking about my grandmother coming and praying for me. So, you know what? So here's the atheist, and I don't expect the atheist INFJs to be any different. Well, no, I do. If you have empathy, you wouldn't, but here's all the atheist INFJs. We're gonna blast him, talk about, oh, you just believe in fairy tales, it's this and that. It's the same atheistic rants, and I expect that from atheists. So, it's sad that INFJ atheists even, have that bent that they've got to prove that you're wrong, they're right. So here's the ego. I got to prove to you there's no God. Well, they can no more prove there's not a God than you and I can probably prove to them that there is, with just logic. So it's a futile subject. I don't engage with them on that level. It's futile. So I expect the atheist to do what the atheist is going to do. But here's what troubled me. Here comes the Christians, and they begin to blast the man, and they begin to, make fun of him because, oh, we don't do it that way, and you're lost, you don't know what you're talking about. And and then here come other Muslims, and they begin to blast the man because of his methods and his way of thinking, and because they didn't agree with him. And the comments were just really mean. I mean, they really nobody was trying to understand the man. Nobody cared to understand. All everybody was trying to do was just blast him and throw stones and then walk away. And so I get on there and I say, I'm really ashamed at all of you because of the way you're treating this fellow. Nobody's here to try to try to be understanding or even learn a different perspective or try to gain any knowledge. And I said, and for you Christians that are trying to blast him because of his methodology, I said, you know, you don't understand. One thing you don't understand about Muslims is that they believe in washing themselves before they pray. And I said to the Christians, I said, what's wrong with that? I said, that just shows respect to their creator or to who they worship. I said, so, they're going to wash themselves. I said, we have Old Testament scriptures that tell us to, before the children of Israel were to come to Mount Sinai, when the 10 Commandments first came to Mount Sinai, it came verbally. I don't know if you know that or not. It didn't come on tablets. God came down and verbally spoke to them, and then they just couldn't handle that. And he spoke to them like a trumpet. And at that time, they were to gather together at the base of the mountain with their clothes washed, their very best on, and they were to be cleaned. They were to wash themselves. So this idea of washing yourself actually comes from the Old Testament. So it's not there was a brazen laver in the temple where people were to wash themselves. Christians believe in water baptism. We baptize, it's a form of a washing. Years ago, back before we had all these modern conveniences, indoor plumbing and all that, people would take a bath once a week. And guess when they done it? They did it on Saturday night. Why? Because they were preparing themselves for Sunday worship. So Christians also, and I mentioned this in the comments to these quote unquote Christians, before you blast this man, make sure you're not being hypocritical, because a lot of these things we also practice and do and have for centuries, and, oil. He talked about putting on olive oil. I said, we Christians have anointed people with oil for years. The Jews anointed people with oil. The Jews would anoint their kings, their priests with oil. I said, we're commanded to anoint the sick with oil. Many churches practice this. I said, you can go to a number of different denominations that will anoint you with oil. They may not do it every service. Now, my church does it quite regularly, but some churches will do it if you ask or request it to be done if you're sick or infirm. So, so this whole idea, you're going to blast the man because you think his methods are evil or bad, or you don't agree with them. And yet, when you boil it down, there's a lot more you do agree with than what you even realize. It's as if we turn our brain off and we go immediately to the attack mode because our ego is trying to prove something. And it troubles me that instead of trying to reach out with some monicum of understanding, we want to go straight for the heart of the matter and try to prove they're wrong and we're right. And nobody wants to understand anybody. Nobody wants to show any empathy. Everybody wants to just be right. So it throws into question in my mind when I read all these kind of comments from INFJs. Then the Muslims want to attack. Well, we don't use oil. Where do you get that oil? Where's oil come from? Muslims don't use oil. We don't use oil. Blah blah blah. And then you got the Muslims attacking the poor fella. And then somebody says, well, it must have been a sheik that he got that kind of information from. Maybe some random run of the mill or random sheik out here that, or a mom that told him to do this. So that they're all fussing among themselves on what's right and wrong. We're going to prove him wrong. And here I am, the pastor in the bunch that is just saying, wait, just cut through all this nonsense. Why don't you just take time to just kind of explore the idea, or if you don't agree with it, just move on. Why try to get in here and show your hind end? You know what I'm saying? So it bothers me. Are we that egotistical? Is our ego that huge that we've got to dive in on somebody because maybe we don't agree with their religious perspective, and we've got to attack them viciously and make fun of them, belittle them, call them names, call their belief names? And if you're a Christian, please tell me how that's going to win them, by you going, not using logic, but you're going to go straight for the attack mode and name calling and, the besmirching and all that. How are you going to win them? Paul said, I become all things to all men that I might win some, So how do you become all things? Well, that means you've got to try to understand where they're coming from, is what he's saying. Try to put yourself in their shoes, become them for a moment to try to understand what makes them think, what's making them tick. You're never going to reach them by standing outside over here and just throwing stones and rocks at them. Forget it. They're going to just pass you by. And, what does it gain? I see Christians doing this. We fight amongst ourselves. This one particular Christian fussed with me and told me I was going to hell because I'm trying to understand the Muslim, and how dare I even try to put myself in his shoes, and how dare I try to understand him? I must be going to hell. And I thought, well, God bless you, sir. I don't know what to tell you. It's all ego. Everybody's got to prove themselves as right. So I want to ask you, is that the way you are? Do you feel that way? Or do you try to bring some harmony to a situation? Try to bring people together to say, hey, where can we all look at this and see, if we agree on anything? Is there anything here that rings a bell of familiarity with you? As a Christian, I could see some familiarity, and there were some things that rang a bell. And it's on those things that I want to go into the conversation with a level of understanding. Well, I understand the oil, and I can understand the water and the washings and all that, because there's some things that are similar to things that we also have practiced down through the years as Christians. Or do you just want to go to, they're wrong because of their beliefs, they're Muslims, they're Arabs, they're this or that. You want to call them names. You want to just throw it all out with the bathwater. I just think it's pathetic. And of course, we see the Muslims will do the same to the Christian, and the atheist does it to all of us. So we're all on their bad side. Nobody wants to try to understand anybody's perspective, And I think it's sad that we allow our egos to go that far amok that we are. And I want to tell you what happens when you become that, when you engage in that, you will never grow beyond your limited black and white thinking, because black and white thinking stunts your growth. It limits you to ever knowing anything beyond what you know now. Trust me, I don't want to be limited to what I know now. If the Lord tarries, I want to know more in the future. I want to learn more. I want to learn how to understand people better. And I'm not going to do that by just, I'm right, you're wrong. It's black or it's white. That's the way it is. And so let's just end the discussion. Well, all you've ended is your access to knowledge. The Bible tells us that wisdom, the wisdom that comes from above, is first peaceable, and it's easily entreated. So it's not black and white. People can talk and have discussions with us, and they can easily entreat us without feeling accosted or attacked or maligned. I want you to think about that. I hope you have a blessed day. Take care.